Steve Bannon's secret media coach, Donald Trump's ecosystem fixer, the guy helping shape MAGA's message behind the scenes, was none other than Jeffrey freaking Epstein. And now we got the emails. But his email. So the newly released Epstein files shows Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein trading strategy, money talk, and political advice while Donald Trump was president and Epstein had already been a convicted sex offender. So, no, drain the swamp was not a thing. The swamp was running communications. All right, so let's just put the basics here on the table, because so that nobody can say that this is fake news later, even though they probably will say that anyway. But these emails are from 2018 to 2019. Donald Trump is president. Steve Bannon is Trump's former chief strategist, still a major MAGA operator, and Epstein is already a registered sex offender, not alleged, not unproven, but convicted. And yet Epstein is still giving Steve Bannon media advice, talking about money and influence, which he had plenty of, and helping shape the larger right-wing ecosystem strategy. So when MAGA folks, MAGA chuds scream, "Oh no, we're different. We're not the globalist elites," which we already know what that's code for. Their strategy, their literal strategy guy, is emailing Jeffrey Epstein for help. Yeah. So let's talk about what's actually in these emails. From what's been released, you've got Jeffrey Epstein coaching Bannon on how to sound smarter and more serious in his interviews, advising how to frame populist nationalism so that it sounds respectable instead of openly fascist. Talking about money flows and who could back what, because of course he is. So picture this. You've got Steve Bannon, the supposed hero of the forgotten man, right? Taking tips from a billionaire pedophile on how to better sell MAGA nationalism to the average person. This is not some whoops, we met at a party and he started talking to me in the middle of it and I couldn't get away because I didn't want to be rude. No, this is a sustained back and forth. And that's pretty serious and kind of seriously messed up. But here's the wild part, right? Steve Bannon apparently had recorded around 15 hours of Epstein footage on camera back in 2019. 15 hours. This is not a quick interview. It's not, having him as a random podcast guest, but I'm not even sure why you would want to do that. No, this is like a mini series. This is Netflix length. Okay. And according to what's coming out, Steve Bannon has never released this footage. He's still got it. So lawmakers are now asking, hey, you got the footage. Why don't you show that to us? Hand it over. We want to take a look. Now, Steve Bannon, when asked, he's like, oh, yeah, no, totally. I'm going to release it. I'm going to release it. But later, okay, eventually, on my own terms. Oh, okay. So here we have Epstein, a man with alleged blackmail files on about half of elite America, who's sitting in front of Steve Bannon's camera for hours. And we're supposed to believe that they only talked about ideas. Nothing sensitive, no. And that somehow this little fact is not relevant to Trumpworld, to the billionaires, other billionaires, or policy positions? Sure. And Project 2025 is just a policy think piece. 47% enacted, by the way. Now, look, here's a deep truth that I think your average cable news panel is going to kind of dance around a little bit. You see, Epstein wasn't just a creep with an island. I mean, that's insane already when you think about it. No, he was part of the infrastructure for the ruling class. He was a gatekeeper to lots and lots of money. a connector for politicians, billionaires, the media. He was a walking leverage machine who knew some, things about some very powerful people. And now you have Steve Bannon, the guy who helped engineer Donald Trump's brand, part of that being drain the swamp and to go after the billionaire elites and all that, emailing a billionaire elite for help. Hey, you want some cash? Don't worry, Epstein knows some people. Oh, you want help with your messaging? Don't worry, Epstein, he knows how the press works. You want influence with the ultra rich? Epstein's got a Rolodex, and that is your entry point. This is the real story. Now, MAGA claims that it was a rebellion against the elitists, but again, we all know exactly what that meant. Okay, what they meant by the elite. In reality, this is a faction of the elite using right-wing rage bait as a battering ram to get into power, while still sipping the champagne with the same predators that they claim that they were fighting against. And so, and look, here's the thing. Let's be clear. Democrats are releasing these files, and that's great. Okay, I like that. But they should subpoena Steve Bannon next, and then get this footage. See what's on it. I'm curious to know, and I hope you are as well. But let's also not pretend that the Epstein guest list was purely a Republican affair. No. There are also probably some Democrats involved. Not that we should really care all that much, because if you are on that guest list and you participated in harming little girls, then I don't care what party you're part of. You gotta go straight to jail. But here's the thing, too. So there are networks that protect Trumpworld, and that have been protecting Trumpworld, and they also protected Wall Street guys, Clinton world people. Yeah, random billionaires who happen to fund both parties and then mysteriously vanish from the coverage. So yes, I think we should investigate Steve Bannon. I think we should drag every Trump ally connected to Epstein into the sunlight. But please, do not stop if it might get a little awkward for some Democrats and their donors. Because that's what happens, okay? Yes, sure, they'll go after the loud fascists, and that's great. But they'll stop before it hits the polite, centrist donors in the Hamptons. And then, we'll get told the system works. No. In this case, the system might protect itself. So you got to watch out for that. But here's the bottom line, though. Steve Bannon, the chief strategist of Drain the Swamp and fighting against the elites, was taking advice from the elites, coordinating with and filming hours of footage with Jeffrey Epstein, while Donald Trump was president and Epstein was a convicted sex offender. And that is not a bug in the system. That is the system. That is the same elite networks that protected Epstein, protecting its own. In Trumpworld, in the corporate media, and yes, even in the Democratic Party. If this video helped you cut through the BS and see what is really happening, then smash that like button. Every single like pushes back against the right-wing propaganda machine. I can't do this work without your support. So please check out my Patreon. Link is in the description of this video. For a few bucks a month, you can help keep this channel independent from corporate BS. So hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's keep fighting for democracy and against fascism together.